Hello. How are
Hello.
you? Oh my goodness. I'm laughing because, as you know, like I kind of like rushed in to get here and I'm sort of like still getting myself caught up and ready to go. So hi, good morning. It's time to rant. I mean,
It is
it's
time to
past time
rant.
to rant,
Yeah.
but
And when I'm always reminding all of us, right? All of us on when we want to be on.
yeah.
There's no, we the human condition is to stress out or, create a rushing atmosphere because something's not going according to plan.
Hmm.
And that's because we've made the plan. It doesn't mean the divine presence doesn't have a greater idea in its infinite mind for us. So,
Yeah.
on when we want to be on, taking good care of ourselves, making sure we're getting to where we need to go.
Enjoying
There's
my
no, yeah,
enjoying my relaxing essential
yeah,
oil.
yeah. What do you got?
This is Moon Goddess. It's a blend of jasmine.
Oh,
A
oh,
jasmine.
that would be lovely.
I love jasmine.
I got this at the Unity of Tucson store.
Yes, and I want you to note that
None
on the
of
back,
success.
and I want you to note that on the back, it probably says "Made in Tucson, Arizona."
It probably does.
This is our locally sourced.
That is
At least I
amazing.
think it is. Is that the Moon God,
Yeah.
or is that Kate's
It,
Magic?
it's Son of Success, citrus frankincense.
But is the maker on the top Kate's Magic?
Kate's Magic,
Yeah.
yeah.
So on the back, it says "Made in Tucson,"
Oh,
local to Tucson.
see, Tucson's in my heart and in my hand.
Yes, it is.
Actually, I know it's oh, hey everybody, this is the rant,
Yeah.
radically affirmative new thought. I'm St. Steph, this is Dr. Jay-Z, and we're here to rant, have a radically affirmative new thought
Mhm.
about whatever it is. So if you're lifing, go ahead and comment, let us know what you're lifing about, and we'll rant about it for sure. But
Yes.
when I was in Tucson, I brought home a stone. It was like, you're not supposed to travel with other people, other countries' stuff, but
Don't tell anyone.
but I brought this beautiful white stone. It called to me while I was doing the labyrinth, or like in and around the labyrinth area.
Mhm.
And my stepdaughter has a collection of cacti out in the big front window, and so it's sitting next to a cactus in the
Hmm.
center, so that it could have, a familiar space.
Yeah.
Oh, why do I have those on? Um, oh, because I could see better.
Being able to see is a nice thing.
Oh,
What a
isn't it?
privilege.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just do some treatment around clear eyesight, and everything will be made more clear. Everything will be made more clear. Hey, Sherry's here. We got
Yeah.
found. Yes, we were on a little bit late today. Um,
Yeah.
lifing happens, but
Yeah.
we are here. Yeah, that's my new thing. The Mystic Mentor is my
Love
new
that.
thing. It's my new
Yeah.
coaching practice. I'm building out a whole program for coaching, spiritual mentorship,
Mhm.
and yeah. So because my life has shifted incredibly in the last 6 months to a year, 18 months, I was, climbing mountains,
Mhm.
metaphorically. I was climbing mountains, and then I realized there is no mountain, and so life is completely different. It's great, and I love it. Mystic Mentor has actually been in my notes for years.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just getting to it. I'm just getting to it.
Yeah. Hmm. I
Yeah.
put mine as to R2D1.
R2D1? What?
Yes. Yeah. Because I'm twice ordained and I have a doctorate, so Reverend Doctor.
Reverend Doctor. That's fun.
Yes, and
That's
basically, and I
fun.
and I always joke if I got another doctorate, I would be R2D2.
Well, let's go.
But for the
What
moment,
are you
I'm just
waiting
R2D1.
for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get another doctor. Let's go, buddy.
Oh my gosh,
Slacker.
I feel like it's gonna be off the hook today because already we're like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a day. I'm having a week. I just every time something flicker, you know how when your wiring in your house is a little off, you hit the switch and it flickers or something, and you know you got to check those
I'm
wires.
like, get that checked out.
So so you gotta check your wires, right? You gotta sometimes, and we're talking a lot about rewiring the brain, consciousness, energy.
Mhm.
It's like the flow of life right now is all in that stuff. And so I've just, when I'm having moments of rewiring required, I shared on Wake Up yesterday. Um, I um, I was in a large parking lot,
Yeah.
and it was insane. The store's closing down. It's moving far away from where this area,
Mhm.
this big store that everybody's familiar with, has great hot dogs. Um, and I was in the parking lot at lunch, just circling while my spouse went in to get two things that she needed.
If it's the store I'm
and
thinking about, that's impossible.
Yeah, no, yeah. And so normally I have no problem. I get Rockstar parking. Like if I'm going in, it's not a time sensitive
Yeah.
thing. But this day, because it's closing the location, I described it as insane. But what a great metaphor of the mind and the unconscious behaviors of the human being,
Mhm.
right? Because everybody, like some of us wanted to get out of the parking lot so super fast. We want to get out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
And everybody just was not communicating well, right? And I found myself lacking in patience. And I know that the highest version of me is so patient, so
Mhm.
loving, so kind. Like it ain't no thing most often. But when I was in this situation this week, I was like, I had no patience.
Mhm.
And so leaving that parking lot, I was like, okay, that was an opportunity for me to rewire, because I know I have a large capacity for patience with other people, but I even rolled down the window to explain to someone their inappropriate driving patterns,
Yeah.
like, and that's so not like me. I know that there's a miswiring. There's some miscommunication happening with my higher self and the human condition when I'm in those situations. And so yesterday we were driving, and the same kind of vehicle was in front of us. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh, wouldn't that be funny?
Mhm.
Wouldn't that be funny? And Tammy's like inching closer to see if we could see the person. And it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same person. And I said, but what I would have done if it was roll down my window again and apologize for the miswiring of my own condition. Like, I'm so sorry that I put that on you. I was lacking patience, and I put that on you. I apologize, because I know I can do better. I know I can do better. But most people would just roll down the window and be like, you're still, oh my gosh. But these are just opportunities for us to check our wiring.
Totally.
If our outwardly activity does not resemble or reflect who we say we want to be or who we say we are, we get to rewire our integrity levels or those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it was just a fascinating. But since that day, I've just been like blissed out and cheerful, because I'm like, what a great awareness to have.
Mhm.
Like, I have more bandwidth that I can tap into and take a breath. I don't need to overreact or lay on the horn. I don't need to roll down my window and educate other people. I just don't. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want someone rolling down their window to educate me on my driving, you know? So it's just been like, oh, wow. Whenever I find more truth in me, it's just such a great place to be. Aware presence is so joyful. It's so helpful. It's a great place to be when we are aware and remembering who we are, who we want to be, and making sure our wires are still connected.
Mhm. But I
Yeah.
wanna be really clear. That awareness has to be an authentic awareness. And,
Yes,
because sometimes I think
absolutely.
what we can do is we can try to suppress what's actually happening for us in a feeling tone way, and try to put a veneer on it, and we call that spiritual bypass. So it has to be an authentic awareness, there has to be something authentic within it. And there's this meme that goes around sometimes that is one of my favorite memes, related to like, we who are spiritual people, right? We are spiritual people. We've trained ourselves in spiritual philosophy, and we seek to live from a spiritual point of view. And there's this meme that goes around that says this. I pulled it up for myself. I said, there's a misconception that spiritual people are always nice. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is to get your throat chakra in alignment by telling people to get their crown chakra out of their root chakra.
Yes. There's
we can be nice, but let's also be authentic.
Authentic. And I know we've ranted about my thoughts about nice versus kind.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I strive for kindness. I don't have to be nice and rosy, but kind is a good thing to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What you just said in a meme, I just read in an Ernest Holmes. Hang on. But it, like, in a lesson kind of way. So the door that you alone can open, in the last little bit here. The end, the aim, and the whole purpose of our study is not for the salvation of the individual life, because life cannot be lost, but for the discovery of the self, which the scriptures tell us is hid with Christ and God. Okay, so we have studied our techniques, and we have come to understand something about how the science of mind works and how to use it, what to do, and why. These, however, are but guideposts on the way to the real discovery of the self that is hid with Christ in God, or the Son begotten of the only Father. So, right, our little rewiring opportunities is just that. It's our self-discovery. We have all the tools. We know how to pray. We know how to think positively. We know how to shift and change. But the education or the study is only that, right? What Ernest Holmes is always reminding us is that less theory, more practice.
More practice, yeah.
Yeah.
I've done entire talks that basically talk about this very notion, because he says in Science of Mind, and I'm going to paraphrase it horribly, we indulge in too much theory and too little practice. That is a sentence right out of Science of Mind, and I totally agree with that. And I think that the value of what we're talking about, because you're not the only one to have had a reactive moment.
What?
I know, it's a shock. I have reactive moments. But what I have found is that the practice and a consistency in practice has invited the distance between reaction and spiritual realization to be diminished. Right. And so, I may still have a reactive moment once in a while now, but I much more quickly find myself in that space of spiritual realization where I can remind myself of the truth of my being, and, remind myself too that if I perceive myself to have been wronged by something outside myself, that is not for anything outside of me to fix. That's my work. That what is happening is simply a reflection of something inherent within me. So, that's narrowing the gap. I always talk about narrowing the gap. It's part of my global intention, is to narrow the gap between a perception of separation to the perception of wholeness.
Yeah. I call it rebound time.
Rebound time. Yeah.
Yeah. Narrowing the gap, rebound time. Absolutely. Sherry, yes. A few days ago, I melted down on the phone, and almost in the same breath, I apologized. Sometimes we need to let out the steam so that the pressure cooker does not explode. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
And I think I agree with that. And, there are constructive ways that we can alleviate that pressure as well. And but sometimes in the midst of a heightened emotional experience, like, we don't think to the constructive way. And so we
Yeah.
may indulge in a destructive method for relieving
Yeah.
that pressure. And you know what? Here's the thing. If that happens, one of my favorite spiritual directives of all time that I've
Mm,
ever taught, let yourself off the hook.
that's right. Yeah. I mean, because what if after this explosion, right, like if your growth is uncontainable at this moment in time, at the end of that experience, you are more awake to everything, more awake to life because you have pushed through something. That's an incredible thing, right? Like, right, yeah. Sometimes the kindest thing we can do is get that throat chakra aligned,
Yeah.
right? And I know my growth, my personal growth, like even in the last 6 months, is using this throat chakra and this voice to express my true nature in such a way that aligns me to my highest and greatest good.
Mhm.
Now, it might look like a really visceral argument, or like a physical response to something, but burning off that energy allows us to get clearer in our what's next, clearer in who we are, clearer in our understanding of, oh, I can do that better next time. And so everything, I say this in my ministry all the time, everything before us is for us.
Mhm.
And if we are having an experience that looks a little rough around the edges, oh my gosh, it's just polishing up all of the stuff that doesn't serve
Mhm.
any longer,
Yeah.
right? Like I had such an intense experience this past August with other human beings that made me like I vibrate so hard. So like I could see yellow smoke. I was vibrating in the situation so much. And because of that situation, I am the more proud of myself, more awake, more in alignment, more clear, more purpose driven, more everything that I desire to be
Mhm.
as a spiritual human being,
Yeah.
existing in a place that is soul purposed and soul powered and purpose driven. Like, so it feels rough, it feels hard, it feels icky, and it's for our highest and greatest good, or it wouldn't be happening.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge
Mm,
something though that sort of has been around the edges of this conversation a little bit.
yeah,
And there's a construct that exists within unity, the 12 powers, right? It's not really a
yeah,
religious science on the religious science side of things, although I see value in it. So, as you know, maybe it would be something that religious science ministers would be interested in kind of exploring. But in the culmination of this idea that the 12 powers, as articulated by Charles Fillmore, are basically 12 divine faculties that
mhm,
every single person has. I'm not going to go through all of them. The one I want to talk about, though, is the power of power, he calls it. It's the power of power. And what he's not talking about is physical force. He's talking about the power of our capacity to, stand firm in our resolve. That is a powerful place to be. And he assigns energetic centers in the physical body, sort of like the chakra system, right?
mhm,
And so if we're talking
yeah,
about the throat chakra, you know what the energetic position of power is in the physical body, the root of the tongue.
mm,
Because if you really think about it, what is more powerful than your capacity to communicate your voice, to communicate your
mm,
thoughts, to communicate your beliefs, to communicate your feelings? That is stepping forth in power, not force, but I can use my voice as a point of power.
yeah. Oh yes. You know that saying, "Kill them with kindness,"
Hmm.
right? Like
Can you
that
say smother
force.
them with kindness?
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
try to kill them,
Smother
buddy.
them with kindness. Like I don't know, but for me, I have found annoy the crap out of them with kindness because, right? Like when I'm in firm in who I am and I have power in my voice, in being centered and grounded and true to self, yeah, it can instigate other feelings in other people that are annoyed or frustrated because they aren't getting a rise out of me. Like I have had people in my life that it seems purposeful
Mm-hmm.
that they are doing what they're doing to get a rise. And if I give them a rise, well, then they win.
Yeah.
So being true to your own voice and true to the nature of you, that is the true power, being true to your authentic, real, raw self. And so for me, being true to myself, I have heard my whole life when I'm being kind, when I'm being complimentary, or I've been a very demonstrative person. People question my sincerity or consider me disingenuous,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, so they can't receive kindness in the same capacity that I offer it.
Mm-hmm.
Because so I've heard that my whole life, that I'm like, when I'm being sincere, oh, you're not being sincere.
Yeah.
Well, I can't make other people feel anything.
Mm-mm.
But I know how I want to feel. And if you get, the people who can't receive my love or can't receive my kindness, I just kindly ask them to move on.
Yeah.
Move. You don't have to be in my presence if you feel I'm not being sincere or genuine in our capacity to communicate, then please move on.
And so
Because being kind is a joyful thing to me.
yeah.
And being overly dramatically kind is something that is in my nature. And a lot of people can handle receiving kindness.
Yeah.
So, I pray for all of that.
Yeah.
I pray that you can receive kindness, and love, being able to receive love, because I have discovered in the past year. Oh, I'm chatty today. I have discovered in the past year, when I'm struggling with personality types, they're not understanding my love, because I'm only operating from a place of love. So that's on, if we can't communicate, then we're just maybe not speaking the same language. And if my language to me is love and you perceive it as something else, then we're just, time to leave the room. Time to leave the room.
Yeah.
Yes. What's this? Yes. And you are setting a boundary by saying, it's not my job to make you feel receive what I'm offering. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can only offer what we can offer.
That's right.
Yeah. And this past week, it's been a lot of me saying, no more, no less. Like, give what you can, no more and no less. Do what you can do, no more and no less.
Mm-hmm.
Have patience with yourself. Have kindness with yourself. Everything else will come.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a break from talking now.
Oh, I'm very reflective today. So it's actually fine that you are, that you're speaking, because I feel much more reflective than, yeah, I am. There's a there was a there's a Charles Fillmore quote that I started. I'm teaching a class on Tuesday nights right now, and there's a Charles Fillmore quote that I started class with last night. And to be clear, this class, it's spiritual economics. It's related to spiritual prosperity and the prosperity consciousness that we support and teach in the New Thought movement. But if you take out the word wealth from this quote and you replace it with pretty much anything that you seek to experience, he wrote this: the spiritual substance from which all visible wealth, from which I did this last night, the spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. It is right with you all the time in response to your faith and your demands upon it. It is not affected by our ignorant talk of hard times, though we are. It is not affected by our ignorant talk of hard times, though we are affected because our thoughts and words govern our demonstration. The unfailing resource is always ready to give. It has no choice in the matter. It must give, for that is its nature.
Mm.
And it's really feeling prevalent for me in this conversation because that's kind of what we're talking about. Like, the nature of the divine is always a giving nature. And are we willing to be a conduit? You know, not that we're separate from it, but we still focus the energy as form of that same energy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so are we willing to give over to the notion of generously giving and generously receiving, because that is its nature, and so that inherently is our nature. I don't know, I'm just thinking through this now, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as like,
Yeah.
again, I'm feeling very reflective today.
I love it. I'm reflective. Like, I find myself, I don't know how many minutes it's been, but
27
I'm like
minutes?
staring at nature, and I'll just be like, I'll be mesmerized, and then I'll be like, oh, I should go in. It's cold out. And but I'm like having thoughts, being reflective, and being contemplative is one of my favorite states of being.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Martha's here.
Hi, Martha. So
Greetings, beloved.
and so I have to laugh at myself because you said, I don't know how many minutes it's been. I looked, I went, it's been 27 minutes.
It's been 27 minutes. Yeah.
My
Yes.
chair just almost gave out.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're having it. We're having a day. Oh, so some more people are watching now. Great to be with you guys. Good to see you.
Yeah.
What is your radically affirmative new thought this week? This beautiful Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, he used to greet his cohorts at the beginning of a meeting. What has been made more clear to you since last we met? And I love that question. So what has been made more clear to you in the last week? Go ahead and let us know in the comments. We would love to know your brilliance.
Totally. So something happened to me this morning that I was not expecting. I found out information about one of my new thought heroes that I did not know until today. And it was kind of surprising to me because my perception of this individual has always been in one arena, but not so. So, Raymond Charles Barker. You know Raymond Charles Barker.
I do.
Not personally, because I mean, he made his transition.
No, I know him personally. We are one.
Yeah, well, we are, but he made his physical transition out of this plane of existence in the 1980s, in 1988, I think. But, you know, you think of him as, I believe, I'm putting words in your mouth, but my experience is always he's a significant voice on the religious science side of New Thought.
Yes, yeah.
Did you know he didn't come into religious science until 1940, and prior to that, he was an ordained unity minister?
I had no idea. No, everyone talks about him like he was a religious scientist.
Yeah, he was originally ordained as a unity minister. I just found that out today. I was like, whoa, interesting. Yes. And I've gone the other way. I've gone from religious science to unity, and here we are. But yeah. Anyway, just
organize. Yeah.
Interesting what life brings forth. What do we have there?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. Yeah. Trisha, sometimes life hands you lessons, and sometimes you are a part of other people's lessons. Absolutely.
Yes.
I have found, like, we're characters in other people's stories, you know, or the B-roll, right? Everybody is their own lead character in this beautiful film of life. And but yeah, we're not in this life alone. No. And I have a friend who calls them certain types of people, characters in our lives, sacred friends, the sacred friends that are here for the harder lessons. But yeah, at the same time, I know there's beautiful souls in my story, in my film, that have been that I have been a part of my film and a part of their unique and own expression brilliantly.
Yeah.
And I think about this beautiful soul, Wendy McIsaac. She's still around. But when I was in my early 20s, I was really struggling with direction. I had no idea of what I was doing. And I got a position. She was the executive director of, oh my gosh, it was like a Service Canada kind of situation.
Okay.
And the purpose was to help mentor people like me. So there was a group of us young 20 somethings unsure of what was next. And, I still quote her to this day, and it's been 30 years. I still quote her. There's we're all the bit characters in our films are, they all get credit.
Mm-hmm.
And how we are showing up in other people's lives. Absolutely. We're weaving into each other's lives and stories.
Right. You make me think about, I'm gonna harken back though to the commentary before on authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
because that is why so this is one thing that kind of comes up to say that authenticity is paramount in those interactions, especially because here's what happens. I think if we have a lack of authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
means we may be reserved in what we offer in those relationships. And because we don't like to have gaps, we will fill in the story about someone else.
Mm.
If and they will fill in the story about us if we are being inauthentic with one another. But
Yeah.
authenticity actually is a way that we can curb that, because if we are authentic with one another in our interactions, then what story is there to fill in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm going to ponder that for about 100 years.
Yeah, give or take.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now we're both reflective.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
and I want to acknowledge too, like, we have this perception that life hands us lessons. I mean, and I phrase it
Mhm.
that way too. But
Yeah.
it's also really important, I think, to understand that those lessons are not actually handed to us. They're actually reflections of something within us. And
Mm-hmm.
so we perceive the lesson when we're ready to learn the lesson, but it's something that we've always had within ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, we're both very reflective today.
Yes.
We could just sit here,
Hmm.
oh, yeah.
Mm. Yeah. How was the rant? Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Or like my advanced parentheses
Yeah.
class, we could get to the end of the conversation and go, "So what is the answer to all of it?" I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. The answer to all of it is there's God and absolutely nothing else.
That's right.
And semantics and language, right? Like yes, I'm a part of other people's lessons,
Mhm.
and I am as authentic as I can be in situations. But what I have found in the last 18 months is that they're telling stories anyway, and it's none of my business,
Yeah.
right? Like, be clear on how you are showing up in
Mhm.
other people's lessons, because
Yeah.
if it is as your authentic self, then it's all great. I have found it difficult and made situations more difficult because I was trying to teach them how to be better,
Right.
and that doesn't work. Everybody comes to their own. I mean, the same essay I was just reading from talks about that as well. It's that we come through it in our own way. We come to it in our own way, and um, yeah, and what other people's tasks or lessons are none of my business. My only responsibility is to show up authentically and as who in integrity of who I say I am and want to be.
Mhm.
So it's like the learning lessons, the curriculum is out there,
Yeah.
right? For the curriculum for our for a life well lived, for a joyful, radically spiritual life, the curriculum is out there. The,
Mhm.
we it's our responsibility, if it is, to self inquire, self discover, know the self, because that self is literally, and I'm using this word correctly, the divine.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
unexamined life is not worth living.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
foundational principle within New Thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Martha brings up a really good question.
Are you clicking? I'm
No, you
clicking.
click. You're in the
I'm
driver's
clicking.
seat today. I've just
Perfect.
decided. And we had a conversation about what is authenticity. Yeah. And so while I
Mhm.
have my own like idea of an answer, Martha, I'm wondering what came up for you?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how are you what resonated with you in terms of how you would answer that question before I would want I mean I
Mhm.
like I said, I
Yeah.
can give you what I think it is, but I'm curious to know what your answer is.
What has been made more clear to you about authenticity?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I wanna chew on those thoughts, Martha.
'Cause I use that word a lot.
Mhm.
I use
Yeah,
the word authenticity a lot, and one of the things I often talk about is that I strive to be my authentic self, whether I'm on the Sunday platform or I'm meeting you one on one. That the
yeah,
person you experience there is the same person you experience here.
yeah,
And that to me is an expression of authenticity. But I think the question is, what is authenticity?
yeah, yeah.
So curious to know what you have to offer if you were to answer that question, Martha. And I know that there's like a delay in the chat, so I can wait a few
Mhm.
moments too if you have a moment to put it into the chat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because when we think about authenticity, uh, oh, here we go. Showing up unapologetically as my truth in the moment.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes, I happen to love the word unapologetically.
Yes.
Unapologetic, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on a prayer book called Unapologetically Prayerful.
I think though many people translate that word to say if I'm going to be unapologetic, it means I can be unkind. And that's
Mhm.
not, I think, what we're talking about.
I don't think that I don't think
Yeah.
that's I mean,
Like,
because if kindness is a part of your makeup, right? If being kind is something you are looking forward to in your life, that's a part of it. But I know people who are authentically themselves and are big beeping beeps. And
mhm.
and God bless them. They're being authentic. They're being true to themselves. So
Mhm.
so I think it's a path. Kindness is a path we walk,
Right.
and not necessarily authentic for everyone.
Right, but if you are purposefully saying, "I'm going to be unapologetically myself," and then
Mm.
endeavor to just be unkind, I think people use it as an excuse. That's what I'm saying.
Oh
I
yes,
think some
yeah.
people use it as an excuse,
Mm.
and, you know yeah, I
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what's another word for unapologetically that would be more, because words have power and energy that we give it, right? So what
Right.
would be another useful word to replace or to fill in?
Hmm.
Right? Like, because I always say authentic for me is real and raw.
Mhm.
The raw part of me that is like unapologetically is after the conversation, I don't beat myself up, which means I've been true to myself, right? So
Yeah.
that's that sense for me. But at like real and raw means that I am not masking, I'm not putting something on for others. I am being the true nature of who I am at the core of me. And yeah, I don't have to apologize for that, for me being me, but I also don't expect an apology from others who are also doing that same work. Because I know this is the great lesson in my life. Everyone, including me, is doing the best that they can. And when we know better, we do better.
Yes. I think I know an alternative word that fits
Mm.
right in with what you're saying. Unashamed.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yes. I love this. Love this. So, no, not at all. Unapologetic in the sense that I don't have to hide and don't need to shrink myself
Yeah.
to fit.
Yeah, I think we're
Exactly.
saying, I
Yeah.
mean, we're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there are those who will hear that word and they will use it as an excuse to be unkind.
Mhm.
That's really,
Yeah.
freely and fully. Yeah. Unashamed to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Milena,
Yeah.
how great to see you here. Always a
Yes.
delight to see
Yeah. Unashamed. And I mean, the work of Brene Brown
you. Hmm.
is she's at the top of her game right
Hmm.
now. She's the number one requested speaker on the planet.
Hmm.
And what is her message? Shame and vulnerability, right? Do not be ashamed of your personhood. And we get to be vulnerable, like learning how to be vulnerable and being brave in who we are, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, bravely showing up as yourself
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
is the same as unapologetically.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
so.
Oh, this was a word that came to my mind too.
Unabashedly. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a great
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I think the idea, though, what is authenticity? For me, there's an aspect of a little bit of tenacity that exists
Hmm.
within the notion of authenticity, and that there is also, what is the word? There's a word that is escaping me right in this moment. Um, but basically, you do you you express who you claim to be.
Hmm.
That's that for me is authenticity. I am
Yeah.
expressing in my behavior who I claim to be when I tell you who I am.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's no discord in that.
Hmm.
Because I
Hmm.
see a lot of people who say, this is who I am, but their behavior tells me something otherwise.
Well, and that's just it. Who was it? Maya Angelou? Like, when people show you who they are, believe
Believe
them,
that.
because that showing is the thing. You
Yeah.
can say 1,000 words, but if they aren't aligned with the actions you are taking,
Mhm.
then my story I start telling you is this is a dishonest person, and therefore because your actions, I mean, it depends on the actions, but but what I have seen in my last 6 months are these premises, right? Showing up to help me, not make me, but help me see more clearly um, truth in form. So
Mhm.
the actions and activities of others, if they are going against like the values they've said they have that we share, if they go against that, then that's not authentic. I don't. It's not that they're not being authentic. It's just they're not communicating an aligned demonstration of word and action, but
Yeah.
they are being authentic.
Yeah. In integrity. That's it. Integrity.
Integrity. Yeah. Yeah.
You demonstrate in an integral in a way of you demonstrate through your integrity.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is to be authentic. Yeah. Anyway, lots of
Yeah.
stuff. I also
This
had
is
this
great.
thought, and I see that, but I want to get this thought out real quickly.
Yep.
We had a discussion in my class last night that talked about humility and arrogance.
Mm, mm,
And this kind of wraps into what we're talking about as well, because some people were saying, well, we're kind of taught not to be arrogant, but humility is also a good and a bad thing. So how do I define that? And I said, here's the
mhm,
thing. I think this is how I define it. Humility that is from the point of view of diminishing yourself
yeah,
is not the kind of humility that I think is going to be beneficial,
that's right.
right?
Mhm,
Arrogance in the sense of I am going to put myself on the pedestal and consider myself to be of greater value to this thing called life than anyone else. That is not a healthy arrogance. But I think there is healthy humility and healthy arrogance, and for me, it's where they cross.
mm,
Where they cross is I understand the nature of who I am, and I understand that to be true of every single person I encounter. It's the
yeah,
remember who you are part of my mission statement here.
mhm,
That if I know who I am, then I must be willing to accept that of you too. To accept equality and equity is a consideration of humility, but also of arrogance, right? To know the truth of who I am. Well, it must be true of you too. I know who I am, perhaps considered arrogant, but I know that of you. That's the humility. So it's where they cross in the middle. Just a thought. All right, Martha. Get us going. Woo.
Yes. Yeah, we got going for sure.
Yeah.
Another one that came in the conversation is being our evolved self coming from the place of the divine within us. Yes,
Beautiful.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, she's got another one here.
Yep. Breaking free of the
Also, breaking free of the confines of what everyone else thinks I should be and expectations. Yes, that has been. This is my life's work, right? In the last 18 months, breaking free of what every label that has been placed on me has been. This is perfect alignment.
It goes in alignment with you can only see the edge of it in the frame. But I have my wood carving on my wall up above those paintings. Ralph Waldo Emerson quote: "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment."
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And what an accomplishment it is. Right? And to I love this humility and arrogance thing, because when I see arrogance out there, because and this is exactly what has been going on in my life, like through things, have been in community or in a conversation with someone or people who are quite arrogant in that stereotypical everything smells like roses around me, and I'm the greatest thing, and like that level of arrogance, that's like borderline narcissism, right? But humility is, for me, that sense of self, where I know I can do great things. I have done great things, and I will do more great things. And at the same time, I know that that power and presence that is greater than I am, that I am of, is the whole thing. I am loving, and it is loving through me. The love of the divine is of me. And so when I am loving of others, it is the divine that is loving others. I'm a byproduct. I'm a connector, the inlet and the outlet. But people have said, "Oh, you have such a lovely singing voice." And I'm like, "Thanks, God made it." Right? Because like I didn't make this. This is a freaking miracle in a package, that at any other degree of chemistry or biology, I would be a banana. Right? This is a miracle. And so that helps me stay in that place of humility. I know the actions I'm taking to wake up and to be more enlightened today than I was yesterday. That's great work. And I'm here to do that work because there is something greater to be known.
Yeah.
And humility lets us say thank you when someone gives us a compliment. And and arrogance is like, of course I am. Of course I'm great. I've had a lot of that level of something going on in my life from an external space. And every time I'm saying, where in me is arrogance showing up? Where am I arrogant in my life? That's the reflective self-inquiry to discover the moreness. Yeah.
You know what, though? I'm having this kind of weird thing, and I'm going to have to play with this in my mind. Because if someone gives you a compliment, there's also another response that you have not articulated, and that is to deny the compliment. Oh, no, right? No.
What, this old thing?
Yeah. And part of what I go through is, on the surface, that would be probably a humility, right? But I think there's an underlying current of arrogance that actually motivates that kind of response.
That's
because
interesting.
yeah, I'm gonna have to play with this in my mind because I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't have a point of view about it, but it just struck me. I'm like, oh, someone who does that, is it really that there isn't a streak of like an elevated arrogance, not the arrogance that I've
Mm.
talked about before, but that elevated arrogance that maybe is playing into that a little bit. I don't know. I got to think
Yeah,
about it.
because there's also in my experience of the reflection of compliments or reflection of great job is a sense of a lack of self-worth,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
there's I mean, every word in the dictionary can be a pro and con.
Yeah.
We give so much attention and meaning to things, but it's that the feeling, right? So
Right.
the feeling behind the arrogance that I have seen, like, oh my gosh, I would tune into the narcissistic, self-absorbed kind of way.
Hmm.
And I wouldn't see arrogance as self-loathing or deflection. It's more like I have seen arrogance in my life as self-grandulizing, and um I and I would never see the people that I'm thinking of right now, them turning away a compliment.
Right.
In fact, they would be milking for more. So
Mhm.
I want a better understanding of like the spectrum of arrogance, I guess.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
you mentioned the dictionary, and it also kind of ties into this conversation because I always try to remind people that the dictionary is descriptive but not prescriptive. You
Yeah.
know, the dictionary is a tool to help us understand the manner in which words are being utilized currently, but the meaning of words changes throughout time. And
Mhm.
I think that is part of what we're exploring here is the meaning of the word humility and the meaning of the word arrogance, and where do we find the balance in the meaning that we've ascribed to it in our contemporary culture.
Yeah.
But it is not prescribed that it has to be a certain way. And so we're always playing with words. The word that I always use as an example of what I mean by this is the word passion, because
Mm.
we typically in our current contemporary culture think of passion as a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Passion is like, oh, there's that drive, that fire within us that is, there's that passionate fire that allows us to move forth with great aplomb in our lives and like really thrive, right?
Mhm.
That's not what passion originally meant. Passion originally meant suffering.
Right. Like the passion of Christ.
Passion of the Christ, the suffering of the
Mhm.
Christ, right? And so that is a word that has completely transformed in our culture to mean something completely different than it once meant. And
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that's an example of what I'm trying to say, that,
Yeah. Well, they've even changed, like, they have even changed the meaning of literally,
literally.
because they've literally changed the meaning of literally because
Yes.
people use it metaphorically,
Yeah.
and
And
yeah.
what does it require to understand the meaning?
Mhm.
It takes context. Right?
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
there's a whole other conversation that we could get into about context.
I know. We could save that for another rant.
I think we're gonna have to because
Yes.
we're almost to the end of this
Yeah,
hour.
we're rocking it. Yes, humility is kind of hard to explain in its truth. Maybe acknowledging I am divinely perfect did a great job. And I don't need credit, or just it's not about credit or I'm never doing it alone.
Mhm.
Or I am never doing it alone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You're never doing it alone.
None of us are doing this alone.
The divine in you is practicing being a human perfectly every single day.
Right. We are all in this together, and that is why I am a huge proponent, and this is driving my ministry right now, the fifth kingdom of consciousness, I'm calling it.
Mm.
Right? We've talked about it before on the rant, but the four kingdoms of consciousness are the manner in which life is unfolding. These were articulated in many iterations, but the language I'm using right now, I think, was really codified and articulated by Michael Beckwith. Life happens to me.
Mhm.
Life happens. That's the first level, and he does it in a hierarchical fashion. That's the first. Life is happening to me. That's victim consciousness, right? And then he says we develop and grow. Life happens through me is the next level. You continue on and continue and thrive and grow. Life happens by me, so you're elevating your experience of life, and then life happens as me. And so those are the 4 kingdoms of consciousness that he articulated. And I'm really a proponent of the idea that there's a 5th kingdom of consciousness that we are growing into collectively, which is the 5th kingdom of consciousness. Life happens as we.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge for me right now in terms of how I approach everything in my ministry.
Yeah. It's being demonstrated in the world today that life happens through we, or as we, like that, as we, because my beloved U.S. cousins, it's we the people, and that. As a Canadian, my news feed is very U.S. centric. My news, everything's very U.S. centric, and that's the algorithm I'm in. 98% of my friends are American, so that's my algorithm, and I'm just witnessing from this vantage point the coming together. The people have power when they come together, and it's the same thing. Like in Jesus said, "Where 2 or more are gathered," and that's the thing. In New Thought circles, it's where 2 or more are gathered, there shall be food. But but there's power in consciousness when we come together in an intention that is together. There's an author who wrote a book, The Power of 8, and she's been studying group collective consciousness for a long time. And 8 people in a circle setting an intention and focusing on that intention together can heal great things, can do amazing things. And so, the 5th state of consciousness is absolutely where I see our planet going.
Yeah.
And it's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's the way it's going to be. That's
yes.
Yeah.
And
it's the radiant I am in the we. We are radiant.
And I think that is where we leave everyone to contemplate this coming week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. Yes. Ubuntu. Yes. Absolutely.
All right, friends.
Okay, beloveds. We've had an awesome and amazing week. Yes.
Thank you for joining us a couple minutes late today and staying with us a couple minutes late.
Yeah. So great.
Yeah.
So great. Let us know in the comments if you're watching on the replay. I know there's a few of you who will watch on the replay because I see that hashtag replay. We love connecting with you all throughout the week. There's ways to connect with Dr. Jay-Z. You can visit Unity's website, Unity of Tucson's website, and get all the details on all of that good stuff. And of course, oneloveawakening.com. We got some stuff going on too.
Yeah, so there's unitytucson.com, oneloveawakening.com.
Yes, and it's good stuff. So have an amazing week. Keep in contact, stay connected, and definitely have some great rants this week. Until we see you again.
Bye, everybody.